Continuing lesson 5.8 on converting customary units. Here are some of the different conversions. Some of these we've talked about, the customary conversions, which are on the left side here. Metric conversions we'll be talking about later in the chapter. So if you look on page 308 at the Do You Know How number 5, they want us to convert 27 inches to yards by finding an equivalent rate. So inches to yards, they actually give you that conversion in your book, but you may not always be given that. So if we have inches, if you think about inches, we're trying to get to yards. There's an in-between step here, which is feet. So actually, probably depending on what information we're given and what information we know, we may need to actually change the inches to feet first and then change it to yards. So we know that 1 foot is 12 inches. So if we have 27 inches, what we can do is try to think about how we can do this. Well, to try and get from 12 to 27, that's not going to work out very well. We can go from 12 to 1 though. So to go from 12 to 1 would be dividing by 12. So 27 divided by 12 is not going to come out evenly. So that's 2 3/12. You can reduce that to 2 1/4. So that's 2 1/4 feet is equivalent to 27 inches. And then now that we have that, we know 1 yard is 3 feet. So if we have 2 1/4 feet, again, this is not a good pattern to try and go from 3 to 2 1/4, but we can go up and down as well. Going from 3 to 1 would be dividing by 3. So if you take 2 1/4 divided by 3, that's going to give us our answer. So 2 1/4 divided by 3. Remember, to do this, we would need to change the 2 1/4 to an improper fraction first. So 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9/4. And the 3 is like 3 over 1. And then keep change reciprocal. And that would be 9/12. And then you can reduce that to 3/4. So couple step process there, potentially. We can figure out that that's 3/4 of a yard. A different way you could have done this problem is that you could have looked at 1 yard is 3 feet. And then if you know there's 12 inches in a foot, you could say a yard is 36 inches. And so if we have 27 inches, we could divide by 36 to find that missing spot here. And if you do 27 divided by 36, it's not going to come out nicely. Don't break out your calculator on this thing. 27 divided by 36, we can reduce both of those by 9. And then that would be 3/4. So you can see, that way is potentially a little bit easier, but it just depends on what you're familiar with and what makes sense to you to do the problem. There's different ways you can do that and still get the right answer. Number 6, it says use dimensional analysis to convert 1.8 pounds to ounces. I'll go ahead and mention the dimensional analysis, but I'm not going to make you do these problems a certain way at this point. So 1.8 pounds, you can put that over 1. With dimensional analysis, what we're trying to do is get the same units in opposite parts of the fraction. So since pounds is in the numerator, we need to put it in the denominator to get it to cancel when we multiply. And our conversion is 1 pound is 16 ounces. By doing that, the pounds will cancel when we multiply. 1 times 1 is 1, and then if you multiply that, you should get 28 8/10 ounces. And it's divided by 1, so we don't really need the 1 there. That would just be 28.8 ounces. Another way we could do this, if we are not required to use dimensional analysis, which, like I said, I'm not going to make you do it that way, is we could do a proportion. 1 pound is 16 ounces, so if we have 1.8 pounds, this time we do have a nice pattern. Going from 1 to 1.8 is multiplying by 1.8, and so now 16 times 1.8, and if you'll notice, that's what we did up above as well, is 28.8 ounces. Number 7, Sam is tripling a recipe for an organic cleaning solution. The new recipe calls for 15 teaspoons of orange oil. Find how many tablespoons this is. Sam converted this way. And what error did Sam make? So the deal is with doing dimensional analysis like this, when you're multiplying, you have to have stuff in opposite parts of the fraction for it to cancel. So this conversion factor actually should have been switched around. Teaspoons are both in the numerator. That's not going to cancel when you multiply. So that would be the error. He should have had the reciprocal of that conversion factor, basically. And again, you don't have to normally work the problem out this way, but just to see then, we know 1 tablespoon is equal to 3 teaspoons. And so if we have 15 teaspoons, this is a good pattern. 3 to 15, that would be multiplying by 5. So we multiply by 5 in the numerator. That would be 5 tablespoons. Again, to answer their question would be that the conversion factor should have been the reciprocal of that. But for the recipe, we would need 5 tablespoons, not 45 tablespoons. That's a big difference. That's 9 times the amount if we did it the wrong way. So pretty important that we make sure we do our conversions correctly, or we're going to come up with something that doesn't work out whenever we make these recipes and things. Look at a few problems here on workbook page 75, starting with number 15. William bought a piece of wood that is 3 feet long, and he cuts it into 2 pieces. One piece is 14 inches long, and the question is, how long is the other piece? So it's 3 feet, and the one piece we cut off is 14 inches. So what we want to do, we want to figure out the 3 feet, how many inches that is. And so you might know 1 foot is 12 inches. So 3 feet would just be 3 times that amount, would be 36 inches. So if that's 36 inches altogether, and the piece we cut off is 14 inches, we've got 36 inches total minus the 14 inches for the other piece is going to leave us with 22 inches. Number 19, don't be jealous of the color in my workbook here, but Chris is buying material for an art project. 2 stores have the material she needs. Compare prices to find which material is the better value. So the one store, they've given us the price, how much it costs per foot, and the other one they've given us how much it costs per yard. So $1.25 per foot or $3 per yard. So we want to convert these to the same units, and then we can compare them better. Sometimes it doesn't matter. In this problem, we could actually get by either way, but generally it's easier to multiply numbers than to divide, because when you divide, it doesn't always come out evenly. When you multiply, it'll always work out. So when we talk about this, what we want to do is we want to get things to the bigger units by multiplying is going to be generally the easier way. So $1.25 per foot we know that 1 yard is 3 feet. So if it's $1.25 for 1 foot, then 3 feet is going to cost 3 times that amount. So that would be $3.75 per 3 feet, which means $3.75 per yard. So artistic supplies, it's $3.75 per yard. The craft center is $3 per yard. So to answer their question then, the better value would be the craft center for $3 a yard. And like I said, on this problem, the numbers are pretty nice. We could have gotten by, if it's $3 per yard, that's like $3 for 3 feet, we could say. And so 1 foot, we could just divide by 3, and that would be $1 per foot versus $1.25 per foot. So this time it worked out, but again, if it was like, if it was $4 per yard or something that wasn't a multiple of 3, then it might be working out easier for you just to do the multiplication like we did. Number 25, they're asking which of these conversions are true. And so for some of these, we can go back to the picture that we talked about earlier with the gallons and the quarts, the pints and the cups. Okay, so I'm not going to draw all those in unless I need to later, but so the first thing is saying is there are 4 pints in a gallon. And if you look at the picture, if you think about this, there's actually 8 pints in a gallon, so that doesn't work. Oh, 8 pints in a gallon, that's the next option that they have, so that works. 1.5 gallons, is that equal to 6 quarts? Well, we can see from the picture 1 gallon is 4 quarts. So if we have 1.5 gallons, that'd be 1.5 times as much. If you do 4 times 1.5, that would be 6 quarts. So that works. The next one, they're asking if 1.5 gallons is equal to 8 pints. So if you look at the picture, 1 gallon is 8 pints. So if a gallon is 8 pints, which we already talked about earlier actually, 1.5 gallons cannot also equal 8 pints, so that's not going to work. And then the last one, they're asking if 1.5 gallons is equal to 24 cups. So if you look at the picture, if you fill this in all the way, there's 16 cups in a gallon. So if 1 gallon is 16 cups, we have 1.5 gallons. That'd be 1.5 times as much. And if you multiply that, that would be 24. So that works also. So I lost my check marks there when I was moving things around, but these would be the 3 that would work then. So this gives you an idea of how to convert customary units.